Hi everybody and welcome to your TorFX weekly market update. We're doing a special report on the Brexit. It's the 22nd of June 2016. I'm Nathan Bray, I'll be your host. We're going to be taking a close look at the pound against the US dollar and seeing what the effects of the Brexit might be and what to expect, of course, for the news events for the week ahead. But first of all, let's get in and let's break down all the latest poll data, all the expert opinions on which way the UK might go in regard to the Brexit coming out in a few hours.
Well, the latest polls for the Brexit referendum on the 23rd of June is almost a dead heat at the moment, and we're literally only hours away. So let's take a look at what the experts and, of course, the mainstream media are having to say on the issue. Former head of the ECB, the European Central Bank, Trichet, he came out saying it would be absolutely catastrophic for the UK to leave. Also, tech billionaire Mike Lynch, he thinks the Brexit would also be catastrophic for the British economy. And if we look at some of the figures that have been posted here by CNBC, the prediction is it could cost the UK 144 billion and almost 1 million jobs. And get this, take 15 years to recover. So there's a lot of big fighting words coming out. Even here in Australia, our own High Commissioner to the UK, Alexander Downer, he's warned that Australia's $10 billion trade relationship with the UK would be racked with uncertainty if Britain votes to leave the European Union. There's going to be a hit potentially on the Australian stock market and, of course, on the Australian currency. But what I find really interesting about this whole situation is something that's not in the media, something people aren't talking about, and that is that the referendum is not legally binding. It turns out that Parliament doesn't actually have to bring Britain out of the EU if the public votes for it. That's right, this could turn out to be like when France voted to not join the EU or when Greece voted to leave the EU, and what happens is the Parliament sort of comes back with a different version of it until potentially they get the vote that they're after, and it could take years. So what are we seeing here? Well, it reminds me of a kid who doesn't want to eat their eggs for breakfast, and of course the mother turns around and says, well, why don't you try the magical googie egg? And the kid's like, oh well, that kind of sounds okay. I think that could be where we're heading potentially with this Brexit vote. I don't really think that the people are having an opportunity to have their say potentially. Another point that's been raised is this Brexit vote just going to turn out to be another Y2K? Well, only time will tell, so let's have a look at this pound against the US dollar. I'm on a monthly. You can see here around the 2008-9 crisis, the pound was seen as good buying or good value down around this particular 142.22 level. And of course, as the euro crisis deepened in 2010, it still had trouble getting below here. And even with all of the volatility surrounding the Brexit, you can see it failed to hold below this particular level. So for me, this would be an ideal place. If we do get a failure underneath this particular level and a hold, I'd definitely be looking at getting out of those pounds and into US dollars. Well, let's have a look at all the news coming out and what to expect, of course, for the rest of the week ahead around the globe. We do have Fed Chair Janet Yellen. She'll be testifying early in the morning, and then we've got your existing home sales coming out on the US, as well as their unemployment claims, which are expected to be still above that 270,000 mark. We have some European flash manufacturing data coming out after the London Open. And then as we move into Friday, we do have our German Info business climate news coming out. And of course, the core durable goods orders will be a big one that I'll be keeping an eye on there. Very, very close to zero at the moment.
Well, that's all from me. I look forward to speaking to you all next week. This is Nathan Bray for TorFX.